What it is, guys, it's your boy Shanghaii, and today I'm here with a requested episode. You guys wanted the jail story time. You want to know why I have a mugshot, so I got y'all. I'm about to tell you guys exactly what happened, give you all the juicy details, tell you about all the funny ass situations that I went through while I was in jail. I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I hope you guys get all the details that you wanted. But first off, I had to make sure that I was playing the part. So you know I had to get the orange jumpsuit, got on my tee, I got the chancletas. They're usually orange, but I had purple, so that's what we got. About to cook up some food for you guys and tell you exactly what happened. Little fit check. You know? I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this fit makes me feel like I'm in holes. This shit makes me feel like I'm Stanley Yelnats right now. But this was the only one I could find that I felt like was an accurate jail attire. Everything else was like the corny movie shit where it's like the pinstripes and the little hat and the chain and the ball. So I was like, nah, I gotta get the jumpsuit. So without further ado, guys, I'm about to get into it, about to cook you guys this jail food, and yeah, give you the cheese, man, give you the juicy details on what exactly happened. Let's go. All right, guys, just to clarify, I want you guys to know that I was only in jail for a couple of days. I was just sitting in there waiting to get released and waiting for me to get my court date and all the sentencing and all that stuff. So I don't want you guys to think I was doing hard time or nothing. And all of these recipes that I know are actually from my homies. They told me about how to make a spread and how to make a cake and all of that stuff in jail. I myself never did any hard time. Fortunately, I'm very thankful for that. I do have some close friends who did do some state time, who did some fed time, who did some county time. So I hit up the homies, I said, show me exactly how you make this shit, make sure I get the spreads right, and yeah, that's what we're about to make today. But I just wanted to let y'all know so I don't, give you guys any false narrative that I'm some fucking hardened criminal. I did a stupid ass thing and it was funny as hell while I was in there, and so I want to share these stories with you guys and just, kind of give you guys a story time on the mugshot. So let's get into it. First things first, we about to do is we got to make a spread. A spread is basically where you take a bunch of ingredients and you're gonna put it in a bag after you smash it up, and you're gonna shake it all up, and then you squish it together in a fucking casserole basically, and you can get some pieces of bread and you can put it in the bread, and boom, you got yourself like a sandwich basically. Or I would prefer to have tortillas, but I don't think they have them in there. So this is what I got from the canteen, aka this is what I got from the gas station. I had some hot chips, I got Cheetos, I got myself some ramen with the seasoning packet, and I got some Slim Jims. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a bag, I'm gonna throw all this in there, I'm gonna smash it all up, and then I'm gonna pour a little water in there, and I'm gonna press it all together, and that's gonna be the spread. And then I'm gonna use this to make a cheese spread that I put on top, and then I'm gonna grab myself 2 pieces of bread, put it in between it, and boom, that's my spread. Only thing I wish I had was jalapenos, but I couldn't find them, so fuck it, I got some Valentina hot sauce, throw that on there. Alright, so first things first, you need yourself a bag. Usually you gotta have a big ass fucking trash bag. I have this fucking Ziploc bag. It'll do, whatever. I'm gonna just kind of chop it up and break stuff up, and I'll kind of just talk to you guys as I go so you can get the story time while I'm prepping the food. This isn't really a recipe video, this is just more of a story time video, so bear with me as I do this shit. So basically, to get into the story, guys, while I'm crushing up these chips, is I was in Austin, Texas, of all places, I don't know why, and I decided that I wanted to hit a lick because I saw something I wanted, and so I was like, I'm gonna take that shit. And I robbed a person, actually. And so after I did that, I took said item and I was running through the streets. I was trying to get away from the cops, and I was kind of like in this main street area called 6th Street, and I had like kind of tried to avoid it, but they caught up with me, and I got tackled by like 6 officers. They had like horseback cops and shit on me and everything. Like, it was hectic as fuck. There was cops everywhere. And so I get tackled on the ground. My face got fucked up, as you can see in the mugshot. My whole side was all cut up and shit. They throw me in handcuffs and they start searching me, and they're asking all these questions and shit. And I was with one of my friends, and they were trying to take him too, and they were like, hey, like, this guy right here, he was with you. And I was like, I don't fucking know that guy. And so fortunately, he was able to get off. So thankfully I was able to keep my homie out of jail, but I was fucked. They took me. So they were already talking mad shit to me while they were cuffing me up and everything. And especially these 2 big fuckers that ended up taking me to the substation. While they were walking me down the street, taking me there, they were saying shit like, why are you stealing from people? Like, what makes you think you're so special that you can just run around and take other people's shit? And I was like, fuck these 2 dudes. So I turned to the dude that was talking all this shit and just like trying to press me while he was taking me to the police station. And I was like, what's up with you, bro? I was like, you look like you're a D1 athlete, but you know, it looks like you didn't get drafted and that's why you're a cop now. And I was just being an asshole to these dudes because they were pissing me off, like talking shit to me. I was like, bitch, I'm gonna talk shit to you. So I get to the substation, they basically throw the cuffs on my ankles, they throw the cuffs here with like a belt around me and everything. They put me in the cop car and they take me to like the main jail. Finally get there, they bring me into the first booking area where they take your shoes and all your personal possessions and they basically give you the fucking orange chancletas. My shits were mad dirty too. I was like, bro, can I please get a cleaner pair? And they were like, nah, you get what you get. So I was like, ugh. They brought in this other guy who had a DUI and he all sits next to me and he looks at the cop and he's like, you're a cop because you're short or something? And the cop is like, the fuck? He's like, stand up. I'm taller than you. The dude stands up and he just looked at him and the cop was taller than him. And he just goes, shut up and sit down. That shit was so funny. Like that fool got bitched by the deputy in there and everything. Shout out that guy actually. The deputy was cool because he was the one that checked me in and he like saw that my phone only had like 10% and he's like, hey bro, I'm gonna turn your phone off so that when you get out, you have some percentage and you can call people or call Uber or whatever. So shout out the homie, he was cool. But yeah, they take your shoes, they take all your possessions, and all they give you back is a pamphlet that says how to avoid sexual assault, and then they let you write down 3 phone numbers, and then they also give you any cash you had on your person. So remember that because I'm gonna come back to the cash part, because that shit was funny as fuck. But yo, you're sitting in booking and you're looking at this pamphlet that just says how to avoid getting sexually assaulted. You're like, damn, what the fuck? Like this is the first thing they give you when you get in here? But anyways, I get in there and they're like, hey, you gotta go to medical because I'm bleeding and shit. So they took me to the medical area and I'm waiting for them to call me in and like start like patching up my face or whatever. And as I'm sitting there, they bring over 2 other guys who need to be in medical and it's these 2 fucking vato locos. These fools are just like hilarious as fuck and they're like besties, like they're good ass friends. You can already tell like they know each other. And they sit down next to me and the one dude turns and he goes, what's up, bro? I was like, what's up? And he was like, man, we gotta get out of here, bro. We gotta kill the guards and run, bro. Like, we gotta kill all of them and get out of here. So I was like, what the fuck? So then they call me into the little medical box or whatever the fuck it is. And the nurse in there, she like patches me up my face and then my side was bleeding and shit. So she gets me all patched up and everything. And then she's like, all right, is anything else hurting? And I kind of just like turned to her and I was just like, honestly, my pride's hurt. She started laughing, her and the other nurse were laughing and they were like, I'm sorry, we can't help you with that one. She sent me back over to like the main booking area and I was like, I don't want to sit by anyone because in my head, I'm like, I don't want to act like nobody's bitch. Like I'm not going to go sit by nobody. So I found like an empty spot. This was probably the scarier moment of my whole time in there was this big motherfucker. He was already in the jail shit. So he must have like been in jail and done something and they sent him back to booking, I guess. I don't know, like he's the only person in a jumpsuit. And he sits down next to me and he like turns to me and he's like, what's up with you, bro? In my head, like I was like, I don't want to talk like I'm gonna talk. Like I don't want to be all like, oh, nothing. Like some type of shit. So I lived in New Orleans and when I was in New Orleans, I remember like I picked up the slang and the slang was kind of like this southern drawl. And we were in Texas, so I was like, fuck it, I could play it off. So I turned to bro and I just was like, shit, nothing, brother. You know, cops just fucking me over again. Pull me in on some fucking parole violation bullshit. Cause I was like, fuck, like, I'm not gonna let this dude know this is my first time in jail. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna pretend that like I was already in jail and I fucked up and they brought me back in. And so he kind of just was like, for sure, bro. And then he kind of was like, stay safe. And he like walked off. I thought I was about to get pressed in fucking booking. I'm not even in a fucking cell. I don't even have a fucking mugshot yet. And dude's already pressing me. I was like, fuck, this is off to a shitty start. I'm sitting there in booking and behind me, I hear the fucking vato locos from the medical. And they're with a bunch of other fucking vato locos. They'll go, hey bro, like, come over here, bro. Like, come sit with us. And I was like, nah. I was like, y'all come sit with me. I have homies that have been to jail and been to prison and they told me like, there's just a certain like code, you know, they can't let nobody make you look like they're bitch. Like you can't just do what other people say. You gotta like stick up for yourself or otherwise people are gonna take advantage of you and think like, oh, you're just a little weak dude. So I was like, nah, fuck that shit. All right, real quick guys, I got all my chips crushed up and I'm gonna add a little bit of the beef ramen right here. What you do is you throw it on the ground like this. And this is how you break it up. This is just a quick way to smash up shit. Alright, so I got my ramen all broken up. I'm I'm gonna add it into the bag now. So I have to go talk to the deputy and they're gonna read me all of my charges and then take my mugshot. So I'm walking up there and the dude that leaves is like another fucking vato loco, and he's got a head tattoo, he's got his arms blasted, he's got his legs, his chest, like this fool's inked up. So I go up to the deputy and he goes, do you have any tattoos? And I look at him and I was like, yeah. And I start to show him and he goes, he was just so over fucking logging tattoos, especially after the fucking vato loco that was ahead of me. So anyways, bro starts reading me my charges. I had like 5 or 6 charges, I think. My biggest charge was a felony for theft from person, and then I had a bunch of petty assault charges, petty theft charges, resisting arrest, and just a bunch of, you know, little shit. And he reads me like after each one he says, oh, you could do, you know, this is 6 months to a year in prison, this is and so like I'm sitting here like, fuck, bro. I really thought I was about to be in jail for 2 years because it was a lot. And so he does all that and then he goes, all right, go over here, you can take your mugshot, y'all do the whole, and then you go, and then you go, and then they're like, all right, you're good, go sit back down in booking. So I go and sit in booking, and this time I went straight to the vato locos because I was like, now that I'm coming back, it's cool, I can go talk to him. Like I don't look like, I made the decision to sit by him. I don't look like I'm doing it because they told me to, which I don't know, maybe that's stupid, but in my head it made sense at the time. All right, so I just added my ramen in here real quick, and I'm about to throw my beef flavoring in here. You gotta make sure you gotta get seasoning in here. And then I'm about to chop up these Slim Jims real quick. I'm gonna throw the Slim Jim in here, and then we'll add my hot water, and we'll get the spread going. I went and sat by the vato locos now, so I'm chilling with them. And these are still the wild fools that are talking about like, we gotta kill all the guards to get out of here. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, nah, I'm good, but like, I'll kick it with you guys. It's funny how like, I went to jail and I was still kicking it with all the Mexican homies. I was still kicking it with all the Latin homies. Like, no matter where I go, it's just where I end up. So I'm chilling there talking with them and all this shit. The one homie's like, bro, like if we're gonna be in here, we need to get buff. Like we need to be ready. And so he starts doing push-ups on the ground and they like grab him and the deputies take him to a drunk tank. And so then in the drunk tank, he's like looking at us down the hall and he's like jumping up, looking in the window, like throwing up, I don't know if they were gang signs or he was just fucking around. And then they made us all move because they were like, hey, stop antagonizing the situation. So it's just fucking random ass shit. While we're all sitting there talking and shit, we just see somebody from the first booking area come sprinting into the fucking jail, like somebody who got arrested. And he comes sprinting into the fucking jail and you just see them fucking tase his ass and he just straight fucking tabletops. And then like 6 deputies dogpile him. I was like, what the fuck? Like bro is trying to get out of jail by running further into jail. I don't know. Shit was just, it was a madhouse in there. I'm pretty sure it was like a Friday or a Saturday too. So there's a lot more bookings on Fridays and Saturdays because people are out drinking and shit. So you have a lot of like the DUIs and the public intoxication and all of that resisting arrest shit coming in. There was just a fuckload going on and I'm just kicking it with the vato locos talking about how we're about to escape fucking county jail. Like what the fuck? Like such random ass shit. Alright guys, so real quick, I gotta heat up some water because that's the next ingredient we're gonna add, is we're gonna put some hot water in here and then we're gonna start squishing it up and making the spread into spread, I guess. And then I'll make my cheese, I don't know what it's called, cheese sauce, I guess. I'm gonna make cheese sauce out of Cheetos and then I'm gonna put that on top of there and then I'll put it in some bread and chow down. Alright guys, so now that I got my hot water all fucking hot and shit, I'm gonna go ahead and add it to the bag. That's about good right there. I can always add more. Make sure you get a good mix of everything together. To kind of continue with my story, we're still in booking, like we haven't been brought up to the cells yet. We're waiting whatever to get called basically, and they call a bunch of us over, me, a couple of the vato locos, and then like maybe 5, 6 other guys. We have to stand in a line and then they bring us into a separate area from booking where they basically give you your clothes and they do the search basically. I'm thinking like in my head, okay, they're gonna do the cavity search shit now. You know, this is the stereotypical bullshit you hear about in movies or like from people talking about like they're gonna like straight up check your culo. So I was like, great, like here we go. Fucking, this ought to fucking suck. But I guess technology nowadays, they have a machine that just fucking does a body scan of you and lets them know if they need to further search. So I was thankful for that. So what they gave us, it was a top and bottom. They were both striped. They were black and gray stripes. and then it was like a, you know, like a smock and a pair of like loose fitting pants, and then you had on orange slides, like no socks, no nothing. And once you put that on, they put you through the machine, it scans you and all that shit, and then they just let you go sit back down. This guy was so funny that was sitting next to me. I got booked with him, I was in the same cell block as him, and then I also got released with him. So like I kind of was around this dude for a lot of time that I was in there. And so I'm sitting next to homie, and I'm like, oh fuck bro, I thought we were about to get searched or something. He goes, nah bro. And then he kind of turns to me and he goes, bro, I'm kind of nervous, bro. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? I was like, you got something in tu culo or what? I was like, ugh. So remember how I told you guys they gave us whatever loose cash we had on us and they put it in our pockets? So now the guard tells us after we've all changed to go up to this counter one at a time, and we put down whatever cash we have and we say our name, and then they basically put it on our books. They go, pull out your cash. And all these guys around me just start pulling out wads of cash. Like for whatever reason, either these fools were prepared or like, I don't know what the fuck. They were all drug dealers. I don't fucking know. These dudes had fucking like stacks on them. These fools had wads of cash. So dude goes up there, he's like 400, puts his money down. And then they're like, all right, you. And so I go up there and I had one crisp dollar bill in my pocket. So I put it down on the counter. I look at the guy and I go, $1. And he just looked at me like, go sit down. I was like, oh, I thought that shit was funny. And then they basically took us from there to like an elevator. They took you up in the elevator, and then that's where they took you to your cell blocks. And when we got there, they split us into two groups. Unfortunately, the Vatos Locos, they went into a separate cell block, so I didn't get to see them anymore. But I was still chilling with the one homie, so we went into the other cell block. And basically what they do is they line you up, and then they go, all right, we're gonna give you your blanket and your like essentials, I guess, which is just soap, toilet paper, toothbrush, toothpaste, and a comb, and then a blanket, and then that's all you get. So they call your name, you go up there, they hand it to you, they're gonna point at what cell you're in, they tell you what number, and then you go over and you get in it, and then they make you fucking slam the door yourself, which is crazy because like having to like go up there and shut your own cell door on yourself, like essentially just locking yourself in your cell, was like, fuck, like you're just like, damn, I really did this to myself. And it makes that fucking ka-ching, like the noise that you hear in fucking Akon, like the locked up noise.
Locked up, they won't let me out.
Like it literally makes that fucking noise. So every time I fucking shut my cell door, I always thought about like the song Locked Up. Like that was what was playing in my head. So I go up to my cell. I had like a top tier cell. I had to go up these stairs, turn here and go in, and it was an isolation cell. So it's literally no window, no nothing. It was a bed with the mat on it, and then they had a little table here with a little chair. I had my toilet and my sink all in one thing here, and then like a little slit of my window that I could look out of onto like the cell block. It was like probably like 2 a.m. by this time. So I just went in there and I laid down and kind of just looked around me, and I was like, fuck. My head was like all over the place. So at this point I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna crash out. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I just finished making the spread. I have the cake that I wanna make. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make everything, and then I'm gonna finish my story as I'm making it, and then I'll set it aside, and then I'll bring it in and I'll prepare it and I'll eat it, and I'll actually like review the jail food. This is the homie's recipe. This is the other homie's recipe. My other friend did tell me a recipe where you can make a peanut butter and jelly out of ramen, and then like you scrape out like an apple pie for the jelly. He told me about that. He was in federal prison, which is kind of crazy, but he had like a fucking PS3 and shit in there, which is insane how much shit you can get in jail. Let me set this aside. So the next thing I'm gonna make, guys, is a cake. And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these cookies right here. We're gonna smash them up like we did with the ramen on the ground. And then we're gonna add all our other ingredients to make our cookie dough. And then we're gonna lay the cookie dough out, and we're gonna put a honey bun in it. We're gonna put some peanut butter in it. We're gonna put apple pie in there. And we then put that all together, and that's your cake. So let's get into it. Let me smash these up real quick. This is upstairs neighbor activity, by the way, guys. This is what your upstairs neighbors are doing. I highly doubt your upstairs neighbors are making jail spreads, but all right, so make sure I get my cookies all smashed up. To come back to where I left off was, I'm in my cell and I fell asleep. They wake you up at like 9 is when they woke me up, I think. And they basically take you down into this little like other room, and they talk to you and see if you're able to get out on PR. And a PR is a personal reconnaissance bond, which is essentially saying, hey, I'm gonna come back on good faith. They denied my PR because I was out of state and because of the severity of my charge. So I wasn't able to get out on my own. And they told me that I had a 1 month hold. So I was told from that point that I was going to be in this jail for a month, waiting until my court appearance. because they couldn't release me and on good faith believe that I was gonna come back because I lived out of state. So I went back to my cell kind of fucked up in the head, like, damn, I'm about to be in jail for a month before I find out if I can even get out. And honestly, when you're sitting in that cell, it's like 8 by 8, you literally just stand there and sit there and walk around and count the fucking bricks and the shit. I had a comb, and I literally remember I just sat there and just like combed my hair in like different styles for like 6 straight hours. Or I'd go look out the window and shit. I could see the clock, so I would just look at that, and sometimes I would just watch it tick by. And yeah, I'd just sit in there and not do shit for that long. It was boring as shit. I sat in there for like a good 2-3 hours, and then they opened up the door and they were like, "You want food?" And I was like, "Yeah," and they threw me a bagged lunch. And it was 4 pieces of bread, 2 pieces of bologna, a bag of pretzels, and an apple, and that was all. Originally, I was like, I'm not gonna eat this, but then I was like, if I'm already gonna have to be in here a month, I probably should, you know, keep my strength up. So I ended up chowing down on that. After that, they were like, okay, you have an initial court hearing, which is not you actually being told like what your sentence is or like anything else other than them just kind of like clarifying details for you. I guess the judge had like a family emergency, so it kept getting delayed, kept getting moved back. I think it was the next day before we got like called down. And they call us all down and they have us stand in 2s, and then they cuff you to another person. And the dude I was cuffed up with the other vato loco that had his head tatted and everything. And I was like, I'm kind of scared of this dude, low-key, because he looked like a mean motherfucker. So they take us all down to the fucking courtroom, and they're like telling us like, don't look at nobody, look straight forward, only talk when the judge speaks to you. The chairs were like uneven, and you were cuffed with another person, so it was like you needed to sit right next to him, and there was like a gap. There was like chairs here and chairs here. I sat here and he sat here, so our arms were like this across the aisle. And he just turns to me and he just goes, turns to the deputy and he goes, "Hey, can we move back one? Because I'm not trying to be like this." And he was like, "Yeah, for sure." I was like, "Oh shit, my bad, boss." And the bro that I was telling you about that I like went in there with and got out with, they read his charge and the judge looks up and she goes, "Why are you back? You got arrested for driving with a learner's permit." And she was like, "Seriously? If you're gonna get caught, at least have your driver's license, because this is the second time you've been in here and it's been your learner's permit is the reason you got arrested for." She's like, "I'm gonna make sure you get the paperwork that you need so that you can go get your license when you get out of here." I was like, damn, bro, you really got arrested for driving with a learner's permit? Bro had to have been like fucking 30. Shit was funny as fuck. They tell you all your charges, and then they basically tell you what your bond is, and then they ask if you're gonna need a public defender. So they read me my charges. They said my bond was set at $7,000. From there, they took us back up to our cells, and they were like, "All right, get the fuck back in your cell." And yeah, I just sat there. I did get a phone call at the beginning, but for some reason the system fucked up, and when I called, it like couldn't go through. And so nobody really, like, I hadn't spoken to anybody since I've been in here. So it was like almost like 2 days that I've been sitting there without talking to anybody. And I remember I just go over to there was a buzzer in our cell, and the cell, you could like buzz it and talk to the guard at the desk. So I buzz it and he goes, "What?" And I go, "Can I make a phone call?" There was like an awkward pause and he's like, "No, you're in jail. Stop buzzing." I was like, "Oh shit, my bad." So anyways, I ended up getting a phone call the next day, and I called my mom, and I was able to kind of get things figured out to where I was able to get a lawyer to represent me and start to figure out how to work on my case and see if I could get out. I originally wasn't gonna call my mom because my mom had told me, like, if you ever get arrested, like, it's your own fault. Like, if you get arrested, don't call me because I'm not gonna bail you out. Respectfully, not like in a fucked up way. You know, don't do anything stupid to get yourself in jail. And I did something really stupid, so initially I wasn't gonna call my mom, but I kind of knew, like, you know, moms being moms, like, she was gonna help me out. My mom like looked out for me, so I was very fortunate to have somebody like that in my life that looks out for me, even when I was in a shitty situation that I put myself into. So shout out moms. So here's my cookie dough. I'm gonna add some hot water in here. Not a lot, just a little bit. We gotta make it flatten out so we can put our filling in it. So my mom had got me a lawyer. Now it was just a waiting game to see when I could get out and wait for my court date so I didn't have to sit in there for a month. So I was just sitting in my cell, combing my hair, counting the bricks in the walls, pretty much going insane, and just staring out of the fucking window for 24 hours a day. Boring as shit, eating bologna sandwiches. And then I basically was told, like, hey, like, you have a meeting with your attorney, I guess. So I got called down and they took me to like a little like room or whatever, where I could talk to them, and they were like, we did get your release guaranteed. We're just waiting on 2 more things and then we're gonna be able to get you out of here. So I was like, oh my God. It was such a sigh of relief, like knowing that, because I was probably like a day away from getting moved to general population. This shit's all been funny, I'm not gonna lie, like this story's been funny as fuck, but at the end of the day, jail's scary as shit and it is not a place to be. So I was definitely very grateful and happy to get that news. So I'm going back down the hallway to go back to my cell, and the guard's standing there, and I was like, man, I'm getting out. And he goes, yeah, you gotta wait till you get processed, so go back to your cell. And I was like, I thought they were just gonna like open the door and just let me out. So I had to go sit in my cell. That was probably like the longest wait of my life, because I'm sitting here after, you know, getting great news, but then it's like taking forever and ever. Like it was like 3 or 4 hours to process me out. And in my head, I just started thinking like, oh, something went wrong. Like they didn't agree, something went bad. And like, they were like, nah, he can't get out. So all the worst thoughts were going through my head at this point, and I was literally just kind of low-key freaking out in there. Finally, they buzzed me and they said, hey, fold your blanket, clean up your cell, make sure there's nothing up there except for what was in there when you first walked in, or else you're staying until it's clean. And I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna get right to it. And I started fucking cleaning everything up. So I go down there and there's 2 other guys I'm waiting with. It was the one dude that I came in with, the funny ass dude that got arrested for driving without a license, and then a DUI homie that had called the cops short. He was getting released too. Basically, we're sitting in the central area where like the lunch tables and shit are, and then they say, okay, like you guys are ready, and they took us down, they put us in the elevator, we went down in the elevator, and then we went to our release area. The release area is where they return all your possessions and all your clothes, you change into your clothes that you came in, and then they ask you a bunch of questions and verify that you didn't get any more tattoos and all this shit. Alright guys, so before I continue, this is what the cookie dough looks like. It's just a flat layout of all the smashed cookies and the peanut butter cups. I'm gonna take a small portion of the honey bun because it's not gonna all fit in here. Usually this would be like half the size of the table, but just because it's me, I'm making a small one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of this honey bun right here. You're gonna put that in the middle, and then you're gonna get yourself some peanut butter, and you take the peanut butter and you're gonna put it on there. Get yourself an apple pie, break a piece of this off. Oh yeah, good apple pie. Get that in there. I'm just eating this shit. Put a little more peanut butter on there. Now what you're gonna do, fold this over, and then you're gonna squish it all together. Get your cookie dough around it. Boom, that's your cake right there. Let me clean up real quick, guys. I'm gonna chow down. I'm gonna tell you guys about how I got released and, you know, rate the food. All right, I wanna show you guys a little bit of a close-up of like, this is the cake right here. That's what it looks like. And then this is the spread I have. It's got all the fucking red 40 like a motherfucker in there. I gotta make some nacho cheese sauce out of this, and then, you know, I got Valentina just in case. And then I grab 2 pieces of bread, and I'm gonna put the spread in between the bread. This spread actually looks pretty legit. I'm actually like, I'm fucking with it. Cause initially I was gonna put tuna in it, and then I was like, nah, that does not sound good. So I'm happy I rethought that, and I'm happy I called the homies and was like, hey, can you tell me like a better spread recipe? Cause I might just fuck up right now. About to make my nacho cheese sauce right here. Gonna have to crush up these Cheetos real quick. So, got those all smashed up. Add yourself some hot water in here. Do a little more hot water, because this we need to make into cheese sauce. If you really think about it, like, the ingenuity that you have in jail to make this type of stuff, and to be like, hey, Cheetos with hot water turns into like Velveeta. Like, that's pretty crazy. If you're able to think about that in jail, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. That ingenuity you should use on the outside, because you can make some serious money. Need a little more water in here. This shit's hot, I'm not gonna lie, guys. This shit's burning my hand. Oh shit, and see, now it's spilling out of the fucking bag. Oh, bitch. Ah. Alright guys, so I'm back. Fucked up, had to get a different bag, but we got my cheese sauce now. So grab a pair of scissors, cut off the end real quick, and now you got yourself some cheese spread right here. Let me see if I... Did that just fucking happen again? Is this the fucking ricotta again? At this point, we're just gonna make the best out of it. Alright, whatever. Alright guys, I got my cheese spread on there even though it fucked up. I didn't get to do the drizzle like I wanted to, whatever. Can't be that classy. Got my little spread. Where's my bread? Got myself some white bread. That's what they called me in jail. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. I wanted to say it though. Is this bread good? I hope this shit's good. Best by October 8th. Maybe I shouldn't eat this. I'm not gonna eat that bread. You know, I got some fucking tortillas. So in honor of my Vatos Locos that I was locked up with, shout out the guys, free the guys. About to take myself a tortilla right here. About to eat my spread like the Vato Loco I am, because you know, it's Vato Locos for life. Alright guys, so now the time has come for me to chow down. I got my tortillas for the Vato Locos, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, let's get into it. I'ma use a fork to put my shit on here because I don't care. To finish off where I left off, basically they gave us all our shit back. And it was funny, I remember the dude that I went in there with, that I got out with too, they all gave him all his stuff back and he's like putting all the things back in his pockets and he pulls out like the little baggie they give you your change and he empties the change out and he goes, motherfucker. They gave me my pocket lint back too. That shit was fucking funny because like in his hand was actually fucking pocket lint. But that dude was funny as fuck. And shout out my homies actually, all my friends that were with me in Texas, they came to the jail and they like picked me up. So I really got mad love for them. Shout out the homies. But as we're getting out, we're all walking out and the homie's with us and homie like turns his phone on and he goes, fuck man, I missed a whole fucking lick while I was in there, and then just disappears into the darkness. All my friends are just standing there like, the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, he's for sure gonna be back here. I had a little hot sauce on there. All right, let's see how this spread is. Pretty decent, not gonna lie. This is just straight fucking bread though. I'm realizing that right now. Ramen, 2 bags of chips, 3 bags of chips actually, seasoning and Slim Jims, and a tortilla. This shit's just straight bread. I mean, it's good though. I don't really like it with a tortilla, I'm not gonna lie. I fuck with the spread just straight up, put a little hot sauce on there. I'm actually hungry, so I'm eating this shit right now. It's kind of like a pizza if I think about it. So I got out, thankfully, after a few days inside. I flew back home to Colorado. I remember I was like mad embarrassed actually for the longest time. I remember just feeling so embarrassed that all happened. I kind of just fucked my head up because I just felt like such an idiot for what I did. All right, now I'm gonna try the cake. Save my spread for later. Got out, I had a month before court, and I remember I had a phone call with the lawyer. The lawyer was like, I'm gonna try to get some details about what happened. He's like, there's a lot of surveillance in that area, so we can see, you know, how much sufficient proof they have that you did it. Calls back the next day, he's like, yeah, you definitely did it. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, they had full-on video proof of me. He's like, would you like to see it? And I was like, nah, I believe you, because I know what happened. They basically told me like what I could do because I didn't have prior charges, but I could enter a program called Diversion. So what Diversion is I basically admit my guilt, I plead guilty to the charges, and I still have a felony, but it's not shown on a public record. I was put onto probation for a whole year, and then I also had to have phone calls to talk to them and tell them if I was leaving anywhere, if I was traveling. I had 90 hours of community service. I had 12 hours of theft classes. I had 10 hours of drinking classes because they said I had public intoxication on my record too. I had a whole lot of shit I had to go through and like a lot of hoops I had to jump just for me to, you know, get through to that position. But I never once complained, honestly, because one, I was so like fortunate to be able to get out of jail and not have to sit in there for a month and then not get sentenced to any actual time. So I was fortunate for that and to be able to have a lawyer and all that shit. And then also the fact that like I knew that I did that shit and I fucked up. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna hold this L. I'm gonna fucking do what I have to do. And like I had restraining orders on like the person that I robbed and shit too. So I like wasn't allowed back in Austin other than the court date. So it's just a lot, you know. And then what I did for my community service is I did 90 hours at a humane society, which is where they have like, you know, pets and stuff. So I would go in there and I would have to clean out all the dog kennels, clean all the cat areas. I would have to wash all the dishes and everything, have to sweep up the floors and just basically do like, keep the areas clean, keep the dog kennels clean and all that. And that was a whole different experience because I was in there, you know, figuring things out. And every day I was in there doing the work, it was kind of just like a reminder to myself, like, hey, you know, you really fucked up. And I had a year to finish it, or else if I didn't, they would revoke the diversion. It was a lot going on, and I made it happen. I finished it up, and I did what I had to do, and I moved past that. And I thankfully haven't been in trouble since then. I haven't had to go back to jail, and I'm very thankful for that. And I'm gonna keep it that way, because you know, jail's not a fun place at the end of the day. I'd rather be out here having fun with my friends and, you know, staying straight. So we're gonna celebrate with this cake right here. Let's take a look at this cake. This is actually my favorite thing. This cake is so good. I really do fuck with this. Just fucking silence. Woo! Rating wise, this is the best. My spread was good. I'm not gonna lie though, it's a little dry. If I could have changed one thing about my spread, I would have put like some jalapenos or I don't know, some type of like sauce in there, just so it was just so dry and it's just like straight bread. Maybe if I didn't do the ramen, I don't know. But it was all right. I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Cause you know what? It wasn't terrible and I would still eat that, and I am gonna eat some of that right now actually. But compared to this, I mean, this takes the cake, no pun intended. This really actually was fire. This is also like 5,000 calories though, so I'm literally about to finish this food right now. I'll get back to y'all once I finish eating. Alright guys, so that was my jail story time. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really never planned on actually sharing any of that or putting that out in a public way, just because it was a little embarrassing. And at the time it wasn't that cool of a situation, but in retrospect it was a funny experience and I made the best out of it, and I was able to, you know, leave that in the past. And so, you know, it was something that I felt like I could share with you guys and tell you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. So let me know what you think down in the comments. And I appreciate you guys wanting to get to know me more. I do appreciate you guys genuinely asking, you know, questions and wanting to know more about me. It does mean a lot, and I really do appreciate all of you. I'm excited for what we got coming. I actually have a trip coming up for my next video. You guys are about to see. It's gonna be fun. It's actually with a lot of my close homies that I grew up with and that I actually learned some of these prison recipes from. It's gonna be a really exciting video. I'm actually gonna do 2 videos in that area. I'm actually flying out to it, so it's gonna be a whole different state. So I'm excited for that one. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know if there's anything you guys wanna see from me. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know how your day's going. Let me know what your dog's name is. I wanna hear everything from you guys. I sincerely appreciate all of your guys' support. It really does mean the world to me. And I'm super excited for this journey and for us to keep continuing to, you know, build up the Neta gang, build up the Shanghaii fam. I really do appreciate you guys. I love you guys to death. I'll see you guys on next week's YouTube video, and keep being amazing, keep being beautiful. Bye guys. Solo te quiero a ti, encima